Hello everyone, welcome to the decks of the weekend. It is Monday and it is my time to go over the big events that happened over the weekend. There have been two big events in Modern and Pioneer, the Showcase Challenges, 9 round tournaments where the top 8 gets invited to the Showcase qualifier. Quite big important, and there were not one but two copies of Affinity. This one that I chose to highlight comes from the finalist Charlie. Charlie is Antonio de Moral Leon, a Pro Tour champion with Splinter Twin many years ago. Still playing Modern, still playing Magic Online, and still doing very well with what he thought was a very good choice because he beats on Blurred Murktide. You have Thought Monitor, Thoughtcast, and Urza. I've made several videos of this deck, but I'm gonna play it again tomorrow since the list is slightly different. I usually like to play Stoneforge Mystic. This list doesn't have that, only has Ingenious Myth. It's playing with Memnite, a card that I didn't have in my deck. Instead, it's going for Memnite and 3 drums, so you get that mana boost with Urza. Moonbear Prototype just doesn't see play anymore. The other top 8er though is playing with Mirror Enforcer, but this list is slightly more like, you could call it blue-white Urza, although it's not like the toolbox with the Top Tier Foundry combo. It's just a affinity deck with affinity for artifacts in Thoughtcast and Thought Monitor. Just good cards like Teferi, 2 copies Teferi in the main deck, 3 copies of Metallic Rebuke. Again, just a blue-white mid-range deck that also exploits the artifact from Esper Sentinel, Portable Hole, just very good cards, and just use these 18 artifacts that you have on top of course, the 4 Razotide Bridge and 4 Darksteel Citadel to power out the affinity cards. The tournament was won by Living End. Living End doing consistently very well, events after events, weekend after weekend. It also won the Polish a big Polish tournament in paper in the hands of Canister. That of course, like whenever a player of Canister caliber chooses to play that deck, of course that means that it's one of the strongest deck in the format. But the today Modern show is for sure towards Affinity. I'm gonna show Pioneer, which of course had as well a Mox Showcase. As I said, it was won again by Mono Blue Spirits. You remember the Mono Blue Spirits from my last video of my last video of the decks of the weekend was won by showcased the Mono Blue Spirits that won this Saturday, or was it Sunday? Anyway, one of the 2 days. Although the deck that I chose to highlight today is Niv-Mizzet. Niv-Mizzet has always been a deck in Pioneer since the beginning of Pioneer. Claudio H is a Brazilian Pioneer expert and piloted it to first place on Saturday in the challenge and top 4 in the showcase. His list has some few slots that are interesting to talk about. At least it plays with Selfless Glyph Weaver, a card that, because it's Orzhov, you still cannot get it of Niv-Mizzet. The first side is white. It's a weird one. It gives your team indestructible, so it can protect your Yasharn, because it says exile, so you can't actually sacrifice it to Yasharn or your Niv-Mizzet. Or you can cast the other side, a Planar Cleansing for 8 mana, which isn't too much. It's step 13, I think. The biggest addition to this deck is for sure the Triumphs. You have now Jetmir's Garden, Rafine Tower, Spara's Odd Quarters, and these other lands. So the Triumphs are definitely making it so that this deck doesn't have to play several of the old Triumphs. Now you can play the new ones as well. Another cool card in the side is Weather Runestone, and you see this card over Grafdigger's Cage for 2 reasons. Mostly because it stops Storm the Festival. This is Weather Runestone is exactly like Grafdigger's Cage, except that Cage only says creature cards can't enter the battlefield from graveyard or library, whereas the Runestone says null and permanent. This means that the Runestone will stop a Nissa or a Kiora, a Karn coming off from a Storm the Festival, and it also stops the Parhelion II coming off from the graveyard with Greasefang. So those two are the reason why you're playing Runestone over Cage. It could be a minor change, but one that could matter, showing that Claudio H definitely follows the metagame, and I love to see Niv-Mizzet doing well. Niv-Mizzet used to be a deck that I was playing in Pioneer before COVID, and it was cool. It was cool. This deck was definitely one of the best. Then, of course, you had Ur and Teferi. Now you don't have those cards anymore. Your hits are going to be way worse. You have Laura Hold Command. But, Sharn, Nahiri, defeating Clarion Cloth, this couple of K Command. This is definitely something that you'll see. Surak is for the control deck. Another very sweet card. Very large threat coming off. Uncounterable. Let's go over to Arena now. Again, many people ask me if I could show the Explorer format on my channel. Unfortunately, the Streets of New Capenna Championship will be featuring Standard and Historic and not Explorer. Historic is kind of dead at the moment, but I guess we will play the violin together at the Streets of New Capenna Championship, and then I'll follow the Explorer metagame. But for now, I'll try to focus on Standard for the channel. There has been a couple of big tournaments, of course, the Standard Challenges, but mostly the Crew Kits tournament. 360 players, $2,500 for a free event. Just a great opportunity to play Magic for free the first weekend. And Esperez finished first and second. Very impressive. Mikolai Gervais, can't pronounce it, and Elio Dragon. This is a popular streamer. They've played a very similar lists with, of course, the Wandering Emperor, Kaito, Rafine, and there's a cool new card that's Fairy Vandal in this list, also featuring in the second one. Mardu, I've showed Mardu a couple of times on my stream. I'm going to also show Esper the next time, but the deck that I wanted to check out today with you was the 4th place by Amanda Kosai. She played Jeskai Inata, and you might remember the days when people found out about this combo. People went crazy, go like, oh wow, this is broken. 2-mana Magma Opus is gonna get banned in a heartbeat. It didn't get banned. Oh, you know what also? You should have been banned in a heartbeat. Obnixilis. You know that there's a Mardu deck in 3rd place of that tournament that is Mardu, and it's not playing any copies of Obnixilis. You know why? Because the card is not very good. But let's not say that out loud, because of course I gotta hype up new cards. This is a YouTube channel. New cards are great. By the way, Inata, Down Crowned. This is a very sweet card that not only makes your Magma Opus cost very few, because you target 6 different things. You target players, 2, and you target 4 creature. It costs only 2 mana. You also have March of Swirling Mist that only costs 1. You can phase out everything. You can even target the Goldspan Dragon and get the treasure back. And then you have a Braid that costs 1, Negate that costs 1, Fable of Mirror Breaker is just an all-around good card. Jeskai Control is a deck. We're not talking about the combo deck with Show of Confidence and Lier. This is a control deck, again, with Inata Magma Opus, just lands. You have Gazander Lounge just as a land. Or the whole form, it's for the Obnixilis, I guess, because you discard it, it puts into play. But yeah, I like to see a control deck that definitely struggles in this metagame of Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Wandering Emperor, what's the enchantment that makes all the tokens, the white one, Wedding Announcement. You have so many tools that are very strong against control, of course, Obnixilis, Kaito, that it really makes a hard life for this archetype. But Jeskai Inata did, again, just this event was not small. It was 2 days of tournaments and 10-3-1. That's a very good record. We got some John, Mono White mid range, is it control? So yeah, a lot of cool decks. And Ziza Control is also very fun. It's playing with the enchantment Arcane Bombardment and like Cleansing Wildfire that really thrives in this format of very few basics. This deck, how many basics does it have? 1. So once you Cleansing Wildfire the second time, they already don't search land anymore. That's fun. Yeah, thank you for watching this Decks of the Weekend. Of course, I'm going to be back every Monday talking about Standard, Pioneer, Modern. Maybe next time we're going to feature Explorer. Who knows? If there are some big events in Explorer, I'd love to feature that format. For now, it's just similar to Pioneer, with Nota dominating it, and other decks struggling against it. Let's go, and I'll see you every day on the channel. Plenty of content. Have a good day.